out there, music aficionados. This video is a sort of quasi-sequel to my earlier video in defense of Greta Van Fleet. So before watching this video, I highly recommend going over and checking that one out, because it's, I think, one of my best videos to date. In it, I denounce the accusations that Greta Van Fleet is automatically racist just because there's a quote of them saying that you have to be smart to appreciate good music. Generally, I agree that you have to be smart to appreciate good music, and I'm sure that Greta Van Fleet, when they say that there is such a thing as good and bad music, aren't saying that the hip-hop is the bad music, because hip-hop isn't even technically their competition. And something like To Pimp a Butterfly or Good Kid, Mad City or an album like that has a ton of authenticity to it. No, I think when Greta Van Fleet is talking about inauthentic crap music, they're probably talking about like Coldplay or Maroon 5 or Panic at the Disco or Imagine Dragons. And there's nothing wrong with shitting on pop music. We've all done it at one point or another because pop music, a lot of it, is legitimately inauthentic, bland garbage. And to say that Greta Van Fleet is racist just because they attack pop music is also absurd on the face of it, because pop music, while there are trendsetters these days entering the field like Kim Petras and Lizzo, has, for the majority of its lifespan, been dominated by straight white people. So it's not as if pop music is the most diverse genre with just a ton of ethnicities and sexualities in it. Oh no, Greta Van Fleet is attacking pop music, the stronghold of all these powerful women of color like Harry Styles and Adam Levine and Brendan Urie. Oh no. I don't think there's anything racist about pointing out that a lot of pop music is really bland, inauthentic dreck. And I agree with Greta Van Fleet 100%. And I think to accuse them of shitting on hip-hop or shitting on black music or shitting on LGBTQ plus music is just really inauthentic and doesn't actually contribute anything to the discussion revolving racism or problematic shit in the music industry at all. Because at the end of the day, all Greta Van Fleet does is produce quality, hard rock, retro type stuff, and I don't think that qualifies as racist. I just think it means they appreciate rock and rock history and enjoy making rock and roll that sounds like rock and roll. You can go and watch my video on Greta Van Fleet for more of that, more of me defending Greta Van Fleet in terms of being a kick-ass rock band. But today, I'd like to take a bit of a different approach and cover the career of a musician who legitimately is a giant racist, misogynist, homophobic piece of shit, but who a lot of people defend just because they don't want to believe that he's such a terrible person. I am, of course, talking about one of the original hipsters, a big contributor to the genre of hipster music, and one of its worst components, Ariel Pink. Let's get into this exciting discussion. I remember distinctly the first time I ever heard an Ariel Pink song. It was Another Weekend off the album dedicated to Bobby Jameson, and someone here on the internet had just posted the Another Weekend music video, and I was like, what's this? I'll give it a listen. And I did give it a listen. And my first time going into it, I was like, this isn't the type of music I normally listen to. This is some real pop trash. But it's not the worst thing, and the music video, I guess, is okay. I was never, like, blown away by it. I was never like, holy shit, this Ariel Pink guy's creative genius is on another fucking level. But I was like, I listened to it, I sang along to it a little. Another weekend out of my life. And then I clicked off of it and didn't give it too much thought, because this guy hadn't hooked my attention to the extent that I would, like, listen to an entire album by him or anything. He just didn't seem that interesting. He was just kind of a schlubby-looking hipster guy. He looked a lot like Tim Heidecker. And, of course, I wasn't about to accuse him of being as tasteless as Tim Heidecker or anything. He just kind of gave off that vibe. Little did I know, Mr. Pink is even more tasteless than Tim Heidecker. Way more tasteless than anyone could possibly have foreseen. Now, when I listened to Another Weekend, this was before Ariel Pink became the alt-right's poster child and entered his dark side phase. These days, Ariel Pink is known for his cringe-alicious albums where he releases as Ariel Pink's Dark Side. You haven't seen this side of Ariel Pink yet. You ain't seen nothing yet. This is his final form. This is the side of Ariel Pink you weren't prepared for, man. This is his dark side. That's what he's branding himself as now.
Democrats, your ship is ablaze. Will you jump or go down with the inferno? Be brave, confess and atone. Spare us all the evil that your heresy and treason hath wrought. It's now or never. Do the right thing already. Repent.
Ariel Pink, for the record, is a hipster musician. He is a complete hipster. Hipsters, as a subculture, are interesting because while ostensibly progressive, they do have their fair share of bad actors and apples, stretching all the way back to Gavin McInnes, a prominent right-wing shithead who actually claims to be the creator of hipsters as a movement, and I do kind of believe it. You look back at old photos of the guy, back around 2003 or so, he really does look like a hipster, and a real shithead too. Bizarrely, a lot of hipsters are racist or sexist. There are entire Wikipedia pages dedicated to both hipsters being racist, hipster racism, and hipster sexism. And I have to say, like, hipsters are kind of embarrassing. Like, you know, the hippie movement had Ken Casey as its forefather. The hipster movement has, like, Gavin McInnes as its forefather. It's kind of a disgusting past. Nonetheless, I don't think it's fair to accuse all hipsters of being problematic or racist, or giving off microaggressions or whatever. Most of them are just Pabst-drinking doofuses without any real cultural literacy. As for Ariel Pink, he's another matter altogether. Ariel Pink is one of the OG hipsters, one of the big originals, one of the guys who rolled into the scene real early, got in on that hype train, rode it straight to the bank. Ariel Pink is a grifter. Ariel Pink will do absolutely anything to succeed, even if it means cutting his integrity into eighths. Ariel Pink, for the majority of his career, prior to his transition over into his dark side phase, branded himself as a kind of gender transgressive, progressive, left-leaning, pink-haired, flower child, hippy-dippy bullshit spewer. Ariel Pink, for the record, is not even gay. From everything I've seen of this guy, he's 100% straight. He just dyed his hair pink so that everyone would go, wow, he's challenging the gender norms by using the girl color, and maybe he's gay, but he's not gay. He's just a sexually repressed, incel straight guy who treats women like fucking garbage, which is about what I'd expect from him.
If you look up Ariel Pink's dark side on Google, one of the results is, "What gender is Ariel Pink?" To which the answer is, "I am just a guy, a heterosexual guy, but at the same time, I've got this very queer sensibility that I've just been endowed with." No, Ariel, stop fucking using the LGBTQ+ community for your own monetary and cultural gain. You're just not gay, Ariel. You're not queer. You're just a fucking incel. Get over yourself. It's like, why does anyone even need to ask what gender Ariel Pink is or what pronouns to use for him? He's about as gay as Ronald Reagan. Doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
For the purposes of this video, for purely research purposes, mind you, I listened to the entirety of Ariel Pink's album Pom Pom, widely regarded as his magnum opus, the point where Ariel Pink really hit his stride. Now keep in mind, I'm not familiar with his entire fucking discography, and I'm not going to listen to his entire fucking discography. That would be torture. But when I initially heard that Ariel Pink had turned over to the alt-right, I thought, dang, here's a potentially great artist. You know, maybe he has a really great back catalog. Maybe he's some kind of misunderstood genius and he just has bad political ideas, and I'll have to give up his entire discography. I'll be missing out. But I do have integrity, so I generally don't like supporting artists who have shit political takes. But what if it's really good? What if I'm missing out on some kind of underappreciated genius here? And after listening to Pom Pom, I can say with 100% certainty that Ariel Pink's music is fucking trash. Like, no, literally, Ariel Pink's music is garbage. It's hands down some of the most laughable try-hard shit I've ever heard. This guy legitimately thinks that he's some kind of rebel or experimenter or something. But every single song is like generic trash that you'd hear playing over the speaker system at Target.
For fuck's sake, why'd all these hipster bands compare themselves to Frank Zappa? And they're like, I'm the next Frank Zappa. You're not the next Frank Zappa. We don't even need a new Frank Zappa because Frank Zappa albums don't fucking age. But no, Ariel Pink is nothing like Frank Zappa. It's like if I called myself the next Kurt Vonnegut. It's fucking stupid.
And the more I get into cancel culture, the more I realize that there are very few cases where I need to separate the art from the artist, because generally, if the artist is a fucking idiot, then their art is going to reflect that and be fucking stupid. And that's definitely the case for Ariel Pink. It's definitely the case for Louis C.K. I was never much into Louis C.K.'s comedy. It's the case for H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft didn't contribute anything of value to horror or science fiction as genres. You can just read William Hope Hodgson or Edgar Allan Poe or 100 other authors of the same time period who H.P. Lovecraft just cribbed the style of. I definitely don't watch the fucking garbage show Rick and Morty, never did, and actively made fun of it and roasted it when it did exist. So I can't say I'm too sad about Justin Roiland getting canceled. I didn't really read Harry Potter growing up. I wasn't a huge Harry Potter fan. I watched the first couple movies, read the first couple books because I felt like I had to, because that was what was popular back then, but I didn't actively enjoy it. And then when I was 16, I read The Lord of the Rings, and I was like, this shit is way fucking better than this garbage written by this fucking trans-exclusionary radical feminist who's willing to partner up with literal neo-Nazi agencies just so long as they spread a transphobic agenda, which I guess is just the case over in Britain. The only case where I've ever actually felt like I have to kind of separate the art from the artist is with the masterpiece from 2001, Pootie Tang, which was written and directed by Louis C.K. But the more the years have gone on, I've realized that Louis C.K. wasn't responsible for the success of Pootie Tang. Obviously, Lance Crether, who plays Pootie Tang, is the most integral piece of Pootie Tang's success. While the Pootie Tang movie could have hypothetically existed without Louis C.K.'s involvement, because he's just the writer and director, it probably couldn't have happened without Lance Crether's involvement. So, at the end of the day, I think Pootie Tang is more down to Lance Crether's than Louis C.K., so I really see no problem with enjoying Pootie Tang. It is a great film, even if it was written and directed by a scumbag like Louis C.K. I don't really see any problem with watching it, because at the end of the day, its success is down to Lance Crether. All that said, I mean to hammer home the point that Ariel Pink contributed absolutely nothing of value to pop music. So, if you'd never listened to his entire discography, you won't be missing anything. Ariel Pink is terrible at music. Now, I get that that might be construed as harsh criticism by some, and some people might say, well, music is subjective. Here's my take, right? Imagine Dragons. Nobody who engages with music beyond the level of just listening to it in movie end credits actually considers Imagine Dragons a great band. Nobody likes Imagine Dragons. Imagine Dragons is popular. Nobody actually likes them. Same goes for a lot of pop music. Not all of it, obviously, but a lot of it is really out-of-touch, vapid shit. Ariel Pink fits into that niche really well. Ariel Pink is, I think, music's biggest sellout. He'll do absolutely anything to get ahead, throw all his friends and career under the bus if it means making a couple extra bucks. What's happened now, obviously, is that Tucker Carlson of Fox News fame has gone up to Ariel Pink with a big bag of money in either hand and said, hey Ariel, if you pretend to like Donald Trump, we'll give you this fucking bag, this fucking paycheck. And Ariel Pink, being the massive loser sellout he is like, golly gee, I can be edgy now, and this can be a new phase of my career. The problem being, obviously, that Ariel Pink has built his entire fucking career off being this gay queer bait, look at me, I'm so forward-thinking and so artsy and so deep, and he appeals to the Tumblr crowd. So he's essentially thrown his entire audience into the dumpster, and he thinks he's going to get as big a following from the MAGA circuit, but like, no fucking way. You think that the average fucking MAGA attendee is interested in listening to Ariel Pink? What the fuck? It's a career move that makes absolutely no sense, but given Ariel's current discography, it's really not that much of a surprise. Like I said, I listened to the entirety of Pom Pom. It opens up with the song Plastic Raincoats in the Pig Parade, which sounds like a cross between a Kool-Aid commercial and the theme for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Actually, that's an insult to the musical stylings of Mr. Rogers. This shit is hot garbage. I guess it's supposed to sound like late 1960s sunshine pop, which just so happens to be one of my favorite genres, which I draw heavy inspiration from. I'm big into the Monkees and the Archies, bubblegum tunes and the like. This doesn't even sound like that. It just sounds like ass. Ariel Pink just goes in there and he's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. He's like a fucking jolly chimp just banging his cymbals together, and it's the most annoying possible musical composition. I don't know who would listen to this shit and consider it competent. Ariel Pink is bad at production, even when his giant lavish wealth storm and his giant LA studio allows him to get the best possible equipment the greatest session musician's money can buy. Ariel isn't able to create a great sound. He doesn't know how to produce this shit, and he doesn't know how to arrange it coherently. So it just comes out like, holy shit, my mind is falling apart. This music is so bad. After that, near the midpoint of the album, we get the song Black Ballerina. Holy shit, this song is so cringe, makes my ears bleed. In the middle of this song, there's a fucking skit where like this old Salt character, like fucking Long John Silver, guides Ariel Pink's character, who's making this annoying fucking Morty voice, like Morty from the hit sitcom Rick and Morty. And he's like, and then the old Salt is like, here's the strip club, me boy. Let's fucking look at these strippers, matey. Arr. And then like, he says like, nice areolas.
I like your areolas, baby.
Because I guess the stripper whips her tits out. What the fuck is this song? I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep to this shit. This needs to stop. Like, what the fuck, Ariel? Ariel is so brain dead that he can just make songs about just like going to the strip club with his old Salt mentor or something. It's like such a weird fucking idea, and I hate it. I'm asexual, so I don't know what sexy is. But surely, if you're an Ariel Pink fangirl, like, you're insane, right? Like, David Bowie, that's sexy, right? What's sexy about this fucking hipster schlub who comes off like this sexually repressed man-child who doesn't know how to talk to women, and just like, you make a whole song where the whole gimmick is like, I'm a fucking nerdy pervert and I don't know how to have a girlfriend. Feel bad for me, please. Like, what is this shit? This is pop music these days? Like, what?
Here we have the absolutely amazing masterpiece music video for Put Your Number in My Phone, one of the singles off Pom Pom. Right off the bat, this music video is shot in a shopping mall. So if Ariel Pink was a really talented videographer, he could get some really cool shots of the shopping mall all around him. But instead, we get some of the ugliest close-ups I've ever seen. This is a great example of how not to direct a music video because all we see the entire music video is Ariel Pink's big stupid face all close up. So Ariel Pink is all dressed up like a blueberry ego pimp here, and he's wheeling around a Morton Joe. So the premise of this music video is he goes up to some girls to harass them, and he's like, "Hey girls, my grandpa Morton Joe is in this wheelchair. You wanna make out?" And they're like, "Fuck no, you fucking weirdo, get the fuck away from us." And then Ariel Pink is like, "Oh shit, nobody wants to put my number in their phone. Woe is me, the world is so cruel." I honestly think like Ariel Pink has a humiliation fetish or something, because what's the point of making songs about how you suck at relationships and you're a shitty guy who creeps on women at the mall? And like, this isn't a real scenario. These girls are hired actresses who he hired specifically to make him look pathetic and unappealing. And it's fine if Ariel isn't good at relationships, not everyone is. Just make a song about something else. Stop making songs about how you just suck at life, because it's just depressing. Nobody wants to listen to this sad music about how you don't have a girlfriend and nobody likes you. Those girls probably turned him down because he was spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories or something. Anyway, yeah, just fucking terrible music video. What the fuck is this shit? This is about as fun as going to the dentist's office and just waiting for an hour to get a root canal.
It's honestly just pathetic fucking incel core, and it really is easy to spot a mile away that Ariel Pink was going to be a massive MAGA sellout, because he obviously isn't the most well-informed as far as like social issues go. Like, nobody cares about you going to the strip club the first time, Ariel. Good for you, I guess. You got to see some breasts. Good job. You don't need to make that into your big pop hit. Make a pop hit that's, like, fun. Nobody needs to hear you relive your sexual trauma on your shitty hipster album. I don't get the appeal of this music at all. And again, you know, I'm asexual, but I think this shit is just to appeal to incels, because, like, there's nothing hot about this. There's nothing about a song where Ariel Pink just, like, talks about, like, oh, if only I could go to the strip club, in this fucking whiny, nasally nerd voice that he has. What's the turn on here? What's the big pitch? What am I being sold on, Ariel? Why should I listen to this?
She's a topless dancer, lad.
I guess Ariel Pink thinks he's really bold to mention the topic of sex on his albums. He's like, I'm having sex. I'm doing the deed. I'm getting down. What? You ain't never heard this before. And this is supposed to be like our art pop pioneer, our bold visionary into the future. What the fuck? You can't make songs about just other shit? Just make a song about, like, something else, Ariel. There's lots of shit to choose from. The other crazy thing about Ariel Pink is that he claims to be an expert at genre mashing. Like, every song will sound different. Every song is a different style. You know, one's a folk song, one's a disco, one's a funk. And I say this quite often. A general piece of advice to any aspiring musicians out there, it's generally good to have one coherent style and do it really well than to try and do every fucking genre all at once and do it really fucking poorly. Like I mentioned, the opening track doesn't sound shit like 60s Sunshine Pop, and none of it sounds old. It just sounds like modern pop rock trash. I've spoken about this before, about the decay of memory and how a lot of people don't seem to actually remember or like realize how the past was, even though it's readily accessible on Google. Like, if you want to know how to authentically design something that sounds like it's from the 90s or 80s or looks like it's from the 90s or 80s, all you have to do is just look at old VHS tapes and shit that have been uploaded to YouTube for free. For whatever reason, some people just can't seem to do that, so they try and recreate the aesthetic of past decades in a really shitty, half-hearted, low-effort kind of way that just really grinds my gears as a bit of a history buff. Someone who actually like appreciates history and thinks it has a lot of bearing on the immediate present. I prefer more authentic type historical pieces over shit that doesn't even sound or look like retro, but is just using that as like a shitty gimmick, like, ooh, I'm old-fashioned, says Ariel Pink. I'm an old soul. Meanwhile, he just makes shit that sounds like fucking background music at H&M. I don't understand the point. Just say you're making new shit. You're not making old shit. You're not retro at that point. And that's when I realized what Ariel Pink reminded me of. Ariel Pink is the anti-Beck. Everything that's great about Beck, everything that's great about Beck's run, from all the way from Mellow Gold up until Midnight Vultures, I'd argue that's the last really great Beck album. Everything that was great about Beck is everything that's wrong about Ariel Pink. Ariel Pink tries to do the same things Beck does. He tries to genre mash and switch it up and flip it up and come off as if he has this really eclectic, wide range of tastes. The difference is that Beck, nicknamed the Garbage Man, as he alludes to in his song Peaches and Cream, is he's able to take all these samples and different influences and arrange them into a symphonic composition that sounds extremely cohesive and tight and fun. Ariel Pink is more like, oh yeah, let me go to the strip club. It sounds like ass. It just sounds like your ears have two hoses in them that are filled with chicken soup, and the ingredients are just throttling in at 100 miles per hour under insane water pressure. This isn't fun to listen to. Well, Beck comes off as suave and cool and sophisticated and elegant and verbose. Ariel Pink is a horrible fucking vocalist. Hands down, one of the worst vocalists I've ever heard on any commercially released song. We're not talking some small fry just making this shit for fun in his college dorm room. We're not talking a small independent little prodigy here. We're talking a fucking $1 million recording studio Los Angeles sellout here with the best possible equipment at his disposal, and he can't make his voice sound good. He's not even on beat half the time. He's not even on the rhythm. Beck is so fucking tight when it comes to genre mashing. There's not even really a genre that you can say a lot of Beck songs are. Like, what is Where It's At? What is The New Pollution? The New Pollution does legitimately, in a weird way, sound like a song from the 60s because it has all these cool little cues like that flute sting tossed in there. Where It's At legitimately does sound kind of 70s-ish, but at the same time it's got some hip-hop elements in there, so it's like, what do you call Beck? What do you call a lot of Beck songs? Beck music truly is genreless. You can say that about Beck. That Beck's music does not really have a genre besides alternative. Back in the 1990s, alternative meant something. It meant, you don't want rock, you don't want pop, you don't want hip-hop? Here's an actual, alternative. Listen to Beer Can. What the fuck's Beer Can? Who knows? It's really fucking catchy. It's really fucking fun. It's a fun fucking song with a nice groove. And while Beck has been wrapped up in his fair share of scandals, being an ex-Scientologist and whatnot, none of that is even fucking close to the amount of cringe that Ariel Pink has been wrapped up in, entirely of his own volition. He is too culturally insensitive to recognize that the audience he's cultivated over decades of presenting himself as this, twinky, fruity, left-leaning, kind of experimental artiste is in stark contrast to the big, brutish, MAGA, badass fucking Kid Rock monster truck energy he's trying to display now, and really failing at because he's just not that kind of guy, and he doesn't project an intimidating presence.
Well, life is unfair. Nobody likes me. All I try to do is overthrow the government and alter the results of a fairly administered democratic election, but everyone is treating me like scum. This is cancel culture at work, you woke bastards. Why is everyone so woke? Everyone is so woke these days, you can't even make a song about stalking girls at the mall anymore. Wah!
Really shocked that we call Ariel Pink a rock star. Like, this guy is some kind of fucking rebel or shit. This guy is the music industry's biggest sellout, hands down. We give Speeding Bullet to Heaven a negative critical reception initially. We shit on Greta Van Fleet nonstop. But this kind of shit is what we like these days? Wow, we rock fans kind of fucked our own selves over, didn't we? When all is said and done, when this is considered like the pinnacle of modern rock music, fucking Ariel Pink. After that, my ears are greeted to the wonderful tune Sexual Athletics, where Ariel Pink is like, I'm the sex king.
I'm the sex king.
Yeah, you're not the sex king, Ariel, you're just a sex pest. Like, this one sounds like a 70s porno theme, and I guess it's supposed to. I guess that's intentional. So this is the only case on the entire album of a song sounding like what it's trying to emulate. Holy shit. Does Ariel Pink think he's John Holmes or something? What the fuck is this music? It's terrible. Because he doesn't sound like the sex king when he's saying he's the sex king. He just sounds like this dweeby loser who's never been in contact with a girl in his frickin' life. Like, this is what I wonder, right? How is it that we call out, like, you know, Shawn Mendes with Treat You Better as obviously a nice guy's incel anthem that's cringe? And we call out, you know, Lucas Graham with, like, Strip No More, which is, like, a really fucking cringe song. But then we look at Ariel Pink and we're like, oh, when Ariel talks about how he's awkward with women and how he can't get a girl and how he's a nice guy and how he's such a sweet, pathetic, little dweeby, nerdy bastard, this is charming and fun. This is fun subject material for a song. Unlike all the other incel anthems out there, this is interesting. There's nothing interesting about being an incel. It's a tale as old as time, and we've seen it all too many times. And I would much prefer to hear a song about something other than sex. But I don't think Ariel Pink is capable of that because he seems obsessed with the subject of sex, almost like he's never had any. You know whose songs never seem this try-hard when it comes to the subject of sex or romance? Beck never seems awkward or try-hard. Just compare Sex Laws off Midnight Vultures, which also has kind of a 70s porno-type sound going on with the horns in the background a bit, and compare that to Sexual Athletics, and I think you'll get a good idea of how to make a song like this versus how not to make a song like this.
Sexual athlete.
It's a pretty basic example here of like just how much better Beck is than Ariel. Then there's the fantastic song on Pom Pom, Nude Beach A Go-Go. Nude Beach A Go-Go is ostensibly meant to be a surf rock song, but it sounds nothing like surf rock. And I kid you not, I've heard, this is an actual quote from an actual person, that Nude Beach A Go-Go by Ariel Pink is one of the best, if not the best, surf rock songs of the past 10 years. And it's like, have you listened to modern surf rock? There's the Atomic Mosquitoes. There's the Surfragettes. They're from Canada. They don't even live near an ocean, but they replicate the surf rock sound much, much better than Ariel Pink ever has. Because they commit to this one genre and stick to it pay attention to the technique. You listen to Undercover Secretary by the Suffragettes. That's a much better example of modern surf rock than Nude Beach a fucking go-go. I know this is just surf rock adjacent, but I'd like to recommend here to the general viewing audience, maybe check out the Olivia Jean and April March collab, Alonzi, or Alonzi, or however you pronounce that. I don't know, I'm not French. It's a good collab. Kind of surf rocky. Much better than Nude Beach a go-go. Nude Beach a go-go is ass. My ears are getting just funneled in shit. Just Nude Beach a go-go, nude beach a go-go, nude beach a go-go, nude beach a go-go, nude beach a go-go.
Nude beach a go-go, 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 nude beach a go-go.
I am going insane. You have negative ed. Negative ed is off Pom Pom. How to describe negative ed? It's like if the dead Kennedys sucked and weren't funny. That's how negative ed reminds me of. You know how the dead Kennedys are like really sardonic and like genius? Like every fucking dead Kennedys song is like smart and like well informed, and you feel like Jello Biafra and East Bay Ray and the bunch have a pretty good grip on what's going on. Imagine a dead Kennedy song with zero nuance, zero reading comprehension, just a fundamental lack of understanding of absolutely everything. And you've got negative ed, where Ariel Pink just makes what I guess he assumes is a computer voice or something. Like, this shit is terrible. Who thought this was a good idea? Recently, there was a fake music festival held in Austin, Texas by the popular YouTuber Glink, and this was called LightWave. And as far as I can tell, it was kind of like TanaCon, that it never really took off and nobody really gave a shit. But the initial pitch was, hey, you don't like VidCon, you don't like TwitchCon, you don't like these big LA-run influencer things with all the elites, come on down to LightWave. It's going to be the alternative to all that.
Together, these beacons of light can form a wave, and they will blossom into something beautiful.
Which is really funny, because Texas is also an extremely fucking mainstream state that everyone knows about and has its fair share of music festivals. Like, you want to come to somewhere really obscure and against the mainstream, you know where to go? Hey, here's an idea. Here's a city that nobody ever talks about or mentions nationally, on a national level. Nobody ever gives even the time of day, even though we're the 19th largest city in America. Denver. Denver needs some actual, like, you know, culture and shit. But Glink is like, no, Austin, Texas, my big barbecue city, is gonna hold the craziest, most transgressive YouTuber fest this side of the Rio Grande, partner. Yeehaw!
If only it had a stage. LightWave is that stage.
So, the basic pitch, and this is text straight from the trailer, is no sellouts.
An unseen movement.
Meanwhile, you have Ariel Pink, the world's biggest sellout, the world's biggest Fox News fucking MAGA right-wing grifter shill, scheduled to appear on your main concert stage. Imagine the hypocrisy. Now, Glink had obviously advertised that a ton of famous and popular YouTubers were going to show up at this LightWave thing. CoffeeZilla was in the trailer, Wang was in the trailer, Anthony Fantano was in the trailer. Why the fuck would Anthony Fantano go to this thing with Ariel Pink at the same thing, and Ariel Pink is just going to shit on Anthony Fantano and call him a terrible music critic because Anthony Fantano disagrees with Ariel politically? Why the fuck would Anthony Fantano go to an event that's giving Ariel Pink a platform? It doesn't even make any sense.
We don't have to call him out specifically.
Turned on me. Yeah, you can't listen to. You can't say my name anymore.
Wah, Anthony Fantano is too level-headed and sane to appreciate my shit-caked grifter music anymore. The only factor that matters in regards to my own self-worth and validation is whether or not Anthony Fantano likes me. Why won't Anthony Fantano give my album Never Made a Demo Ever the same strong tin he gave to Pimp a Butterfly? What's up with that? It's unfair. Wah!
At the the end of the day, the only two people who attended, from what I can tell, and I do have more views and subscribers on this channel than the official LightWave YouTube channel, so that should give you a pretty good idea of just how inconsequential this entire thing was. The only two guys who showed up were Ariel Pink and Negative XP, that shitwad gamer who thinks it's edgy and transgressive to get pissy about girls with dyed hair. Yeah, Negative XP and Ariel Pink sitting on the same couch, the gamer and the sellout in the same room, and it's just an amazing picture-perfect spot.
Wow, Ariel Pink and Negative XP have a message for Gen Z. I'm Gen Z. I wonder what this washed-up Gen Xer, who was born in 1978, and this edgy scumbag gamer millennial who was born in 1995 have to say about my personal experience as a Gen Zer in the year 2023. I'm so glad that these wonderful Jedi sages have chosen to bestow their wisdom upon me. Let's see what they have to say.
Just like everything's being mediated through we're listening to the music through the same medium that it's all just in this one thing. And we used to do things in different ways. We used to play instruments. We used to do but all that stuff that we're doing now is just setting us up for a Bluetooth apocalypse. Get everything in one place so that they can basically turn it off. And we need to stop making life online, for sure. Like, life is not online.
Holy shit, Ariel, this is so fucking profound. You're not only the new Frank Zappa, you're also the new Philip K. Dick.
Oh my gosh, wow. This is the future of right-wing music right here. These are the guys who are really transgressive and really edgy and show you the fucking dark side, man. You're not ready for the dark side. I honestly don't know what the right wing hopes to accomplish by, like, stealing over a couple musicians. Not only is it stupid to be right wing in today's day and age and political climate, it's not monetarily feasible. You can't get rich off it because it's extremely unpopular. All the right wing has for their music fests is just like Ariel Pink, world's shittiest hipster musician, Kanye, and then like Negative XP. Can you imagine going to that fucking music concert and be fucking trash? Like, what the fuck? Ariel Pink can no longer present himself as some kind of renegade because when you're on the right, you're not fighting against the establishment, you are pro-establishment. You're fighting on behalf of the establishment, by definition. Most conservatives would agree with me there. You're not fighting for progressive changes or social values, you're fighting for bullshit. All Ariel Pink is doing by going alt-right is becoming willfully ignorant and locking himself in a little mind prison where he's not open to any new ideas. And I get that I might seem kind of harsh on his music. I mean, I like experimental music. I fucking love the Tape Beatles and the Bran Flakes, both of whom are way more fucking experimental than any Ariel Pink song, I can tell you that much. Why should I be open to Ariel Pink's goofy trash if he's not even open to the idea of gay people existing? Why should I be open-minded about Ariel Pink's ass-blasted hipster cancer when he's not even open-minded about maybe Trump being wrong? He lacks the ability to process thoughts. He lacks the ability to think critically about the world in which he resides. It's like a Greek tragedy. This guy is a massive laughingstock and pathetic failure, and I don't understand how anyone found his music interesting to begin with, considering his only gimmick is dyeing his hair pink. And yeah, I mean, I put on this pink shirt for the purposes of this video, or I guess it's technically purple, but I'm not making the pretense of being gay here. I'm asexual.
I'm just a guy, a heterosexual guy, but at the same time I've got this very queer sensibility that I've just been endowed with, and maybe it comes across as being mismatched in my more recent years. It's gotten to the point where I don't really know how I come across at all, and I've kind of throwing up my hands. I just kind of leave it to the blogs or whoever, to the kids, to write it off as being probably like throwback hipster chic, which I guess I sort of patented inadvertently.
Ariel Pink's story is ultimately one of selling out, sacrificing artistic integrity and creative vision to make the most mainstream commercialized trash possible. I legitimately do think that if you move to LA, you lose your sense of authenticity, you lose your ethics, you toss those in the dumpster the minute you hop off the plane at LAX and a Britney song is on. And the same could be said for any art poppy grifter like Grimes, you know. Grimes is equally artistically bankrupt. I don't think any Grimes songs are like these incredible expressions of artistic passion or anything. I think Grimes is like the dumbest fucking pop star imaginable. And the same really goes for Ariel Pink. I don't think Los Angeles is capable of producing authentic art that actually says anything meaningful about the human condition.
There was this big controversy where Ariel Pink shits on Grimes and he's called a misogynist for it. I think they're both terrible, and it's hilarious to imagine that Ariel Pink believed he had the moral high ground to call out Grimes, considering that he's also a right-wing grifter hypocrite who uses progressive aesthetics disingenuously for his own personal gain. Seriously, you couldn't make this up.
And I'm not, like, pissed at Hollywood or anything. I mean, Hollywood's record of sexual misconduct and harassment and the like is far outweighed by the video game industry. You go look at, like, Activision Blizzard. They just had sexual harassment up the wazoo, and it was considered perfectly acceptable to grope all your female coworkers for over a decade, because video games are an ass medium created by white nerds. But that's a topic for another time. The point is that while Hollywood may not be the most corrupt industry, I think video games have it beat out by a wide margin. Video games are quite literally the most corrupt industry to ever exist, at least in the artistic sphere. Hollywood does perform some kind of transformative alchemy on your spirit and soul, and it'll completely deprive you of anything that made you interesting to begin with. Ariel Pink is a great example of that, because Ariel Pink produces crap and pretends that he's this artsy, transgressive genius. But really, the whole time, he's just been making a shit ton of cringe, and he's been feeding it to the entire nation, who eagerly gobble it up with our little music mouths, much like how Justin Roiland fooled the entire nation for a decade. And I don't think there's anything wrong with maybe being suckered by these people before they come out as massive shitheads, but it does kind of speak to a lack of being a good judge of character in this day and age. Like, generally, if some like straight, schlubby hipster guy has a song on his album about him going to the strip club and how it was so cool, and he was so crazy into it, oh boy, I'm gonna get to see breasts tonight, then maybe that's a sign that this guy isn't the most forward-thinking, he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, so to speak, he isn't the brightest bulb in the lighthouse or whatnot.
Here's the music video for Ariel Pink's amazing song, Only in My Dreams, one of the most romantic troubadour ballads ever set to vinyl. We open with Ariel Pink getting tossed out by his girlfriend. Now, a normal person might arrive at the conclusion that maybe Ariel was being kind of a piece of shit, but let's say for argument's sake that Ariel was totally in the right, and his girlfriend is probably going through that time of the month. So Ariel Pink skulks off, and he's like, "You weren't gonna tell me what to do, you fucking bitch." So then he sees this girl with hot leggings, and like most stupid idiot women, this girl doesn't find Ariel Pink, the Adonis of masculinity, all that attractive. Luckily, a car almost runs her over, and Ariel is able to save her from certain death, and she gets up and she's like, Oh, thank you, Ariel, my knight in shining armor. You saved me. Let me make out with you. Now we get the pleasure of seeing Ariel shirtless. Holy fuck. Awooga. Look at those pecs. Ariel probably lifts 20 pounds of iron a day. Now Ariel Pink answers the door, and who's outside the door but the maid, another hot woman that he can also hit on. Wow, it's lucky that this sleazy Los Angeles cockroach-infested motel just happens to have the hottest maids available, but I guess that's Ariel Pink's fantasy world for you. So he and the maid head down to the beach, where a mime who happens to be equally hot by pure coincidence takes their picture, and they look at the picture and go, wow, we're such a cute couple. In the next scene, Ariel Pink just happens to be walking along the streets of his favorite city, Los Angeles, when a fan stops over and he's like, hey, Ariel Pink, you're my favorite fucking rock star in the entire galaxy, dude. Can you sign my autograph? And Ariel Pink, being the level-headed nice guy he is, instead of launching into some expletive-laden rant about how Anthony Fantano doesn't like him, whips out his pin and signs that autograph lickety-split, then hands it back to his fan. It's then that he notices, by pure coincidence, that his fan's girlfriend is pretty fucking hot. Awooga! She winks at him, and then Ariel winks back at her, because she's pretty damn hot. The next thing you know, we're thrust into a real-life Ariel Pink concert, one of the coolest musical events known to man. All of Ariel Pink's hot female fans and ex-girlfriends and baby mamas and sugar mamas are there. And they all want a piece of Ariel's hot Pom Pom, if you catch the drift. So he scans the crowd for the lucky girl that he can take back to his dressing room for a hardcore makeout sesh with. The girl from earlier who had the boyfriend wants to be chosen by Ariel for his select harem, but then at the last second, being the decent guy he is, Ariel Pink decides to pick another of his female fans, who he immediately ends the concert on behalf of, takes backstage, and makes out with on the bed. Awooga! It's then that we learn that this entire scenario, the mime and the beach and the car and the concert and everything, is just a weird delusion that Ariel has dreamed up in his head because he's fucking insane. And he's like, shit, this isn't getting me anywhere. I need to go back to the motel and make up with my girlfriend. I mean, she threw me out, but she's probably willing to make up with me at this point. She'll probably give me another chance for the 3,000th time in a row. So, like all the best rom-coms, he heads back and tries to reconcile with her. She's really hesitant. She's like, Ariel, why should I make up with you? You're a massive piece of shit. But then he's like, well, I have 5 other girlfriends, and they're all here, and we're all gonna make out, and we're all gonna have a sixsome together. And she's like, oh, Ariel, you charming rascal. Yes, let's have a massive orgy together, because nobody can resist you. You're the hottest man alive. And so ends one of the most romantic, poignant music videos ever created. This isn't cringy or insecure at all.
Just something to think about. Like, if this guy makes an entire decade of ass music where he's just putting on Beck shtick and being like, I'm the new Beck. I'm the replacement for Beck. You liked Beck in the 90s? Here's Ariel Pink. I sound like Sesame Street on crack. Some people say that Ariel Pink's music sounds like Sesame Street. That's an insult to Sesame Street. Sesame Street has had some great musical guests over the years. They had fucking Stevie Wonder on. Ariel Pink sounds like a way worse children's show, like Teletubbies or something. Yeah, Ariel Pink is some kind of malformed gremlin who just exists to produce cringe. I don't like any of his songs. I really can't say there's a song of his that I like. Even like I said, Another Weekend, when I first listened to it, I wasn't like, wow, this is crazy. I was just kind of like, eh. I guess that's how I would respond to all of Ariel Pink's songs. this isn't influenced by his recent MAGA infestation. It's just like he's not a good musician. Like all his shit just sounds lame. Like he's just trying to be the next Beck. Just mash all the genres together and be like eclectic and outrageous. But he thinks that being outrageous means like simping for Trump. That is outrageous, but not in the way I think Ariel Pink thought it would be. I figure in his weird mind, he probably thought that like when he started simping for Trump, all his fans would be like, "Oh yeah, Ariel, you're so creative. This is nobody's ever thought of this before. Selling out to the GOP. This is such an alternative move on your part, my guy. Great job." But, you know, that's obviously not what happened. And I just think Ariel Pink is politically stupid. I think he's lived a sheltered existence up in his LA penthouse for so fucking long that he just has no grip on reality anymore. And that's depressing to see, but rest assured, I won't lose a wink of sleep over not listening to this bozo's discography. This guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about. And to think that for a decade he was considered one of the greatest voices in rock music or alternative or whatever have you, this kind of goes to show how low the bar for entry has gone. How terrible the standards have become. People obviously dislike gatekeepers as a concept. You know, people, experts in the field who give a shit about technique and care about, making things quality. I legitimately do think that for like musical genres, there should be some gatekeeping. You shouldn't just let some wacko like Ariel Pink just pop on into the scene and be like, "Yes, I'm the new rock star." And then nobody calls him out, nobody calls him a poser, nobody says, "Hey Ariel, maybe go back to the drawing board." Maybe like freaking stop making songs that sound like a Kool-Aid commercial. Maybe we should have some of that. Maybe we should have some seasoned veterans of the rock game who like actually give a shit and actually care about the status of the genre. And also, obviously veterans of the alternative scene kind of saying, "Ariel, this might not be such a good idea. Maybe you might need like a vibe check or something. Kind of a turnaround, my guy. I don't think you should just let complete randos into a genre to fucking ruin it from the inside out, blemish its reputation to people who aren't too familiar with the genre, and might legitimately get the idea that Ariel Pink is like some kind of historic or influential figure or like a big deal. The same way Justin Roiland has completely tarnished the reputation of animation, Ariel Pink has done that for alternative music. Because for a decade straight, he was touted as like the big shit in alternative rock, the big thing. Oh man, Ariel Pink, what a fucking genius. There's no genius there. His brain is just empty because he lives in Los Angeles. Give me a fucking break. He's on patchouli and kombucha 24/7. Ariel Pink is legitimately embarrassing. He attended the Capitol riots in January and then pretended like this wasn't a big deal. "I was just at the coup, guys. Nothing to worry about. Don't worry yourself over this. I'm still your same darling little Ariel." No kidding. In the first song on Pom Pom, the shitty Sunshine Pop one, he's like, "It was going to be an Ariel day," and he calls it an Ariel day. What's an Ariel day? What is that? What the fuck do you mean? In his song is Plastic Raincoats in the Pig Parade. He doesn't even mean cops probably when he says pig parade. There's no political shit in his songs. There's nothing of any merit or value whatsoever. Their ideal is fluff. They're just made to sound pretty. They don't even sound pretty. They don't even sound like any one genre in particular. They just sound like your ears are being assaulted by this whiny incel who lives down in the Magic the Gathering room.
Here's a real review from RacherMusic.com, written by the blogger Dozens of Donuts. While I applaud, appreciate, and enjoy Ariel Pink's psychotic moments of relapse, Pom Pom truly shines when beauty is imparted and order as a fleeting construct is restored. Whether it's unabridged compositions like the dazzling synth funk of Not Enough Violence, the virtuous Put Your Number in My Phone, and the LCD sound system inspired Picture Me Gone, or the centerpieces of the aforementioned radical cuts, Pom Pom never falls short on sterling musical gaiety. Let's run through them because there's plenty. The building hiss and hum of a toy train chugging along sexual athletics' back half. The 60s sun-drenched surf-off of Nude Beach A-Go-Go. The sissy glam rock crescendos of Jello or Exile on Frog Street that brazenly mirror David Bowie's 70s era, just to name a few. For that last one, the comparison goes even further, stretching into Pom Pom's fantastic finale, Dazed in Daydreams, and the recurring chants that embark on unearthing Bowie classics like Memory of a Free Festival Starman or Drive-In Saturday. It might be blasphemy, but there isn't a single second of Pom Pom I didn't, don't, or won't enjoy. The length doesn't bother me, the carelessness doesn't bother me, the absurdity doesn't bother me. In fact, all of it, like a kaleidoscopic nightmare where every inch of space impacts the grand picture, heightens the thrill, and completes the portrait of a madman who's more frank, outrageous, and quizzical than any artist in the modern era. I propose the preposterous, that Pom Pom reflects the reactions instigated in 1969 by Trout Mask Replica. If you're not willing to leap that far, simple retreat to a fairer comparison in 2009 with the Flaming Lips embryonic. Difference being, Pom Pom's great, not grating. Although to be fair, many of you can rightfully feel the exact opposite. Ariel Pink's not a practical figurehead, nor should he be. He represents the outskirts of humanity, the life we'd live if society failed to contain us. A ridiculous theory of mind that can't be proven follows as such. No human is born normal. They merely adapt to formality. Weirdness is what creates the individual. The interests, hobbies, likes, dislikes. The further we reach to enjoy these personal pleasures, the stranger our world becomes. Pom Pom is Ariel Pink's a masterpiece of identity. Yeah, fuck it. I mean, Ariel Pink is the new Frank Zappa, and the new David Bowie, and the new Captain Beefheart, and Pom Pom is totally an album with the same cultural impact as fucking Trout Mask Replica. I mean, let's face it, Ariel Pink is pretty much the new David Byrne. You remember how every Talking Heads song was about going down to the strip club with your old pirate friend? Fuck it, let's just dismantle the entire recording industry and just give Ariel Pink every award from now on. It's not like we can do any better than this fucking genius here. There are 76 reviews and 10,000 ratings for Pom Pom on rateyourmusic.com. My albums, which I feel confident in saying are way better than Ariel Pink's, only have 1 rating so far, so if you have something to say about them, feel free to go tell me what a freak I am over on rateyourmusic.com, the internet's favorite elitist musical gatekeeping site where gatekeeping is perfectly accepted so long as it's against small independent artists such as myself, who are routinely treated like shit by the unqualified moderators on there.
Honestly, I don't get the appeal of this guy whatsoever. You know, I didn't grow up with this shit. Like, I didn't grow up with contemporary music. I didn't grow up with retro music explicitly. I just kind of listened to a lot of shit from a lot of different decades, so as a result I have kind of a wide range of musical tastes. There isn't a favorite decade, I've got a favorite period. I pull influences and inspirations from the entirety of the 20th century, and both decades of the 21st, because really, at the end of the day, I think it's stupid to limit yourself to any one particular era. Ariel Pink is quite possibly the worst example of retro-style music I've ever heard. He calls his music hauntological or hypnagogic, which is an insult to the hypnagogic archive and the legacy that it brings. But I've heard way better fucking vaporwave albums than Ariel Pink's shit. I mean, there's vaporwave albums out there with like 50 views that are fucking phenomenal. Amazing at capturing the sound of the 80s and 90s and synth and computer programs. All kinds of fantastic shit. But a lot of people don't just listen to straight vaporwave. They don't really indulge in that side of music, and they think listening to an Ariel Pink album will make them experts in the hauntological side of things. No, seriously, just go listen to some vaporwave album. There are so many fucking good ones out there. that nobody listens to that really deserve attention and respect, because vaporwave is actually a musical movement that I respect immensely. It's much less of an ironic joke than Ariel Pink's shitty hipster trash.
People generally don't like admitting that their icons, the people they've looked up to for their entire lives, are shitty people with no redeeming qualities, because if you admit that, then it follows, logically, that you have bad taste. Your interests reflect who you are as a person. That's a fair assumption to make, but I'll be fair here and acknowledge that if one of the guys from Greta Van Fleet was accused tomorrow of doing anything on the level of degeneracy displayed by Ariel Pink, I would stop listening to Greta Van Fleet's music and denounce them as a low-effort Led Zeppelin ripoff, probably. But at the same time, I will hold Ariel Pink fans to the same standard and expect them to stop listening to fucking Ariel Pink when he becomes a fucking cringelord. And if they can't do that, then I don't see why I should be expected to denounce Greta Van Fleet for no actual reason.
Ariel Pink gives me a fucking headache. This guy is annoying and smug as fuck. And to think that anyone defends his shit and goes, oh no, I have to separate the art from the artist because the creative genius on display here is just too much for me to handle. Anyone who holds that opinion has to get a grip on reality, because the only reason people think Ariel Pink is good is because maybe they grew up with his shit. He has been making this stuff for like 20 years at this point. But like, as someone with zero attachment to any one musical movement in particular, like my tastes do actually range quite a bit, and I do listen to a lot of different styles and genres, and I'm not particularly partial to any one over the other. I feel I'm pretty unbiased when it comes to music. I don't get Ariel Pink at all. What the fuck are people defending this guy for? It's the same with Kanye. People just brand themselves as a fucking genius. That doesn't mean they are a genius. Genius shows through in the music, not the branding. Kanye's songs aren't that great. Kendrick Lamar is a better rapper. Tyler the Creator's a better rapper. MF Doom's a better rapper, and none of them have ever spewed cringe on the level of Kanye. So I don't feel that bad about never having listened to a shitty Kanye song in my entire fucking life and just listening to rappers who I legitimately enjoy who aren't fucking cringe. Same with Ariel Pink. There's Ariel Pink, sure, he calls himself a genius. He says he's the herald of the new alternative music, yada yada, whatever the fuck. At the end of the day, music's ass, and I don't care about it, and there's a million Becks out there who are way better. Or you can just listen to the one Beck. Ariel Pink completely stole the methodology of Beck without understanding what makes Beck's music just so fucking fun and interesting. Yeah, overall, how people like Ariel Pink ever get popular to begin with is kind of a puzzle for me. My only conclusion is that some people just do have bad taste, you know? Some people like Imagine Dragons, some people like Coldplay, some people swear by this derivative crap that sounds like it's played through a fucking tin can phone. But I guess that's just the existence under which we currently exist. Like, people legit do just find this kind of stuff great these days. And the music industry's in a weird spot with streaming and vinyl outselling CDs for the first time in 2 decades. The music industry's in a really interesting spot right now, and Ariel Pink is just symptomatic of that. He's just a weird fucking anomaly. But Ariel Pink's also like a massive shithead, and I just don't get who'd like his music. I mean, his music is very much reflective of the experience of just like this sheltered Los Angeles resident who has no fucking idea what's in vogue, what's popular, what people enjoy, political sentiment of the time, and he just thinks that he can get by making these shitty Sesame Street sounding toddler songs forever. But that really isn't the case. I do think the music sphere is going to require a bit more innovation in the coming decades than just mashing a bunch of speak and spell samples together and going, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Holy shit, Pom Pom was a chore to get through. I guess what I mean to say at the end of the day is that it's absolutely ludicrous to accuse Greta Van Fleet of making microaggressions or being like secretly racist just because they say that there's a such thing as good and bad music. Meanwhile, you prop up Ariel Pink as some kind of misunderstood genius who deserves immense respect despite his batshit insane views and clear lack of a grip on reality. I, for one, like cancel culture. I think cancel culture is dope and fucking badass, and I like it when people are held personally accountable for their shit behavior. Nothing gives me more glee than watching one of these edgy shitlords' careers fall to pieces. I can hear it right now, Ariel Pink's desperate cries as he sails into irrelevancy. No, but in all seriousness, like, if you like Ariel Pink, good for you. You have really bad taste in music and you don't seem to understand, like, basic music theory, musical influence. I haven't been to college, so I'm not talking from an academic level. I'm talking from the perspective of purely a music consumer, someone who really enjoys listening to music on a regular basis and doesn't really want Ariel Pink poisoning up the airwaves with his malformed drivel. But if you like Ariel Pink, that's nice for you. And if your conscience can withstand actively supporting this derpy bozo, then I guess also great for you. You have terrible taste in music, but I guess there's really no helping that, and you can keep on defending your golden boy. The big, important thing in alternative music, a pioneer of the decades, whose influence stretches far and wide, haunted graffiti, one of the greatest musical projects of all time. I, for one, think Ariel Pink is a massive grifter, hands down probably the music industry's biggest sellout, who has joined the GOP purely for political and monetary incentives and not for any specific artistic reason, because I really don't think anyone who's spent that much time in LA to the extent that Ariel Pink has can really produce competent art or express themselves in a legitimate, honest, creative way, because LA is a city built around the premise of inauthenticity and manufactured reality. And I don't think that sort of environment is generally mentally healthy for a person. Even if Ariel Pink wasn't in LA, I don't think he'd be making great music, but this new dark side phase of his, where he shows you his final form that you weren't ready for because Ariel Pink has a few tricks up his sleeve.
Fantano, her days are numbered.
This is definitely the kind of shit that could only really exist in this current decade we find ourselves in. And if you're ever in the mood for a great laugh, go check out Ariel Pink's fantastic Twitter account where he whines and complains and accuses various newspapers of slandering his great name and disrespecting him. How dare you disrespect the creator of such time-honored classics as Black Ballerina and fucking plastic raincoats in the pig parade. How dare you? Have you no culture? It's really hilarious just to think that Ariel Pink ever got to where he is. And I don't think he's as terrible a person as, like, Justin Roiland or anything. As far as I'm aware, he's never conducted sexual abuse on that scale. He does have his fair share of scandals in that department because, again, he's a misogynist incel who treats women like trash, all while queerbaiting his audience to make them think that he's gay or something, even though he just has pink-dyed hair. That's nothing special these days. I don't think Ariel Pink is malevolent on the scale of someone like Justin Roiland, but I do think he's artistically, creatively bankrupt, if not monetarily bankrupt, because his shitty Daily Wire and Fox News sponsorships will keep him in business for quite some time, and he'll probably be able to put out like 3 more albums under his dark side branding before his career just fizzles out and he gets sick of it and retires in an opulent LA penthouse mansion. That's just how it's gonna go. That's how I see it going for dear old Ariel, anywho, at the moment. Anyway, in conclusion, I think it's absolutely hilarious that Ariel Pink's appearance at the LightWave Festival was advertised with the tagline, "No sellouts," because Ariel Pink is, hands down, the music industry's biggest sellout, just a giant Fox News spewing shill who...
Cancel culture is people that like Peter Pan peanut butter, but they don't like Jif, and they make it Jif illegal. It's like murder. And I think it's just the most... If that's the legacy that this generation is going to leave, it does not bode well. I think that this is the most pathetic legacy.
Oh, you think we people today are pathetic, Ariel? You don't know the meaning of the word. Come and play with us, little man. We all float down here. I am cancel culture, Ariel. I'm your worst fucking nightmare. He'll sell out to absolutely any cause that pays him enough, and he has no real principles. He just does whatever he thinks is currently trendy at the moment. He's not even a real conservative. Ariel Pink is a delusional flim-flam peddler with zero artistic integrity and no real creative potential who will put his own best interests before anyone else's. He's an edgelord provocateur who enjoys stirring up controversy, but it ends up coming off as so disingenuous and try-hard that he's actually milquetoast. Ariel Pink is so milquetoast that he makes Paramore look like Black Sabbath. Ariel Pink pretends to be gay so that he can take advantage of gullible women and pretend to be a minority, when all evidence points to him being a heterosexual straight guy, a men's rights activist who views women as property. This is only my opinion, of course, as I have to say, as I'm required to say by the laws of the internet. I could very well be wrong. I could very well be the idiot fool here, and maybe Ariel Pink is actually a smart boy and has the best ideas and is cool and awesome, and maybe my opinion is wrong, and maybe your opinion as an Ariel Pink fan is correct. If you're an Ariel Pink fangirl, which I don't think really exists, I think he just hires paid actresses for his music videos, then please, by all means, tell me down in the comments below why I'm wrong, and why Ariel Pink is the hottest male specimen available, why he's just the greatest guy, and why you're so attracted to him and see so much in his music. The way I see it, Ariel Pink is endemic of larger problems in the music industry and society abroad. There's nothing particularly special or unique about Ariel Pink's situation. He's in the same scenario as Kanye, except whereas Kanye had a much larger following, Ariel Pink doesn't really have any legs to stand on at this point and is destined for complete and total irrelevancy very soon. Ariel Pink is the sort of delusional Californian butterbrains who believes that fame and popularity is rightfully his, and he believes that he's entitled to legions of adoring fans at every moment, even when he makes the worst possible decisions that only paint him as morally bankrupt. I guess that's all I really have to say about Ariel Pink, the world's saddest pop star who's never really produced anything of value during his 20-year career. It's a fun world we find ourselves in, isn't it? Anyway, sayonara, suckers.
Hey, it's me, Ariel Pink, with my new hit. I'm Ariel Pink, and I don't have time to think. I treat women like property. I think everyone should adore me. I'm Ariel Pink. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Let me go down to the strip club with my pirate friend. Wah, cancel culture. I'm Ariel Pink and I don't have time to think. I act real impulsively. I live in LA and I think this gives me immunity from authority. I'm Ariel Pink and I don't have time to think. I act on impulse. Hey, where the babes at? Cancel culture's the worst, man.
Just